This was our last summer at the cabin. We were giving the place to our children who wanted it to stay in the family. It was getting harder and harder for us to come here in the summer like we did when we were younger. We sold our house in Connecticut and planned to move to San Diego. All the stuff from our house in Hartford had already been packed up and sent to a storage unit in a gated cluster house complex where we were moving in October. From the cabin, we took nothing but our clothes. Our car was already sold, and we left the old Grand Cherokee here at the lake for our children to use when they arrived. Our new home was built in a retirement community. A mile outside the gate was a small medical center, a satellite of a large medical center. Shopping was convenient, and most of the time we didn't need anything more than a golf cart. The weather here is beautiful year-round, and storms like those on the East Coast are rare. It seemed like the perfect place to celebrate the last stages of life. It was a good life. Marie loved me, and I loved her. We had our disagreements along the way, but overall we got along just fine. She was a fantastic lover, although now we were both rarely physically able to fulfill our needs for sex. But we still kissed and cuddled. Hugs never get old, and every now and then the magic still happens. Our children were adorable as children. They married wonderful spouses, and they all enjoyed their productive roles in society. Marie and I had 5 children, and now we have 11 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. Our children were our joy. It was a beautiful evening, late August. The sun was coloring the sky with beautiful pinks and sands, and the crickets had just begun their evening symphony when Marie said, "I have something to tell you." I knew this day was coming, and I was truly ready for it. You can't have a family as close and loving as mine and expect to have secrets. I had secrets of my own, and I wouldn't be surprised if Marie knew them all. I knew hers, at least the main one. "Ah, yes," I said. "I knew we'd have a conversation. I suspected it would be before we moved to San Diego, but I rather thought you'd wait until a little later, closer to the move." "You knew we'd have a conversation? How could you possibly know? I just decided today." "To make me aware of the amount of vodka I'm consuming. Yes, dear, I know you were worried, especially after the 2 of us started drinking as much wine. But I'm sure I'm not turning into an old alcoholic, just dulling the pain from the arthritis in my knees." No, dear, it's not that at all. I have to tell you." "Uh-oh, you mean you found my stash of pot?" "Yes, it's been a long time since I quit stoners. But darling, I've always loved a cup or 2 in the evening, and at my age, I'm not really worried about its supposed drug status. Even if I get hooked on the feeling and move on to cocaine or heroin, most of my life is behind me, so I won't have much to lose. Just a few short years." "Charles, I won't let you speak with such despair. You won't throw away a single precious moment of your beautiful life. As I said, uh-oh, then you must have discovered my penchant for fetish porn. I guess I should have known you'd figure me out. You're so smart. Tell me, how long did it take you to open the sites I like? I thought the password was genius, didn't you? It gets a rating of very strong on every site I use it on. My alternative is suck_M3_WR1 NKLI_P3CSEEK3RW00D. Do you like it?" "Charles, that's disgusting. I had no idea." "Did you find my imitator?" "No! My Viagra!" "No!" "DNA report?" She became very quiet. "Honey, you don't have any more secrets to tell me. I already know." "Have you had a DNA test done?" "Yes, years ago. But I didn't need it. As soon as she was born, I immediately saw his face in hers. She doesn't look like me at all." You see, as I said, Marie and I had 5 children. However, we were also raising a 6th child who was Marie's but not mine. When you so insistently asked me to name her Carla, with a K, I put 2 and 2 together and realized that I had been duped by you and Carl Donaldson. You named her after him. When they examined the baby after birth, they tested her blood. There was no way she was my daughter. Once DNA testing became possible, I was able to get a hair from Carl and have it analyzed. She is his daughter. "And you've lived with that our whole lives. Charlie, I'm so sorry. I really am. Why didn't you say something sooner?" "We had a beautiful family, and you didn't change anything, I thought. I loved you, and your cheating didn't change anything in our daily lives. I wanted the children to grow up happy and confident that we would be there for them. That's why I kept my discoveries a secret." That's so unlike you. I would have expected you to retaliate. It is. But since you both kept your adventures secret and they didn't involve me, Jeannie and I didn't retaliate. It took her a moment to comprehend my words. Jeannie had been Carl's wife until he died a few years ago. She had passed away the year before the talk. We really liked revenge. You and Carl would sneak into the back seat of his car or head out into the woods, and we'd make babies at home that he thought were his. What? Yes, you see, there was no way Carl and Ginny could conceive a child. They spent years trying and thousands on fertility treatments for Carl. His little swim teams just weren't up to the task. You obviously became the lucky winner of his 1 in a million. Yes, their 4 children belong to me. Do they know? Yes. She told them the whole story when she was gone. As a matter of fact, they all talked to me about it at length. Carl raised them, and they will always value him as their father. But they all understand why Ginny did what she did, and to some extent are happy, or at least resigned to it, because they would never have been born otherwise. You won, didn't you? Won what, dear? When we got married, you wanted a huge family. I didn't want more than 5, and you got your 8. 11, actually. Her eyes widened at the realization that I hadn't stopped at Ginny Donaldson, and then widened even more when she realized, my nieces are yours. Give Aunt Marie a gold star. She always joked that her nieces were as much like my sister as she was like hers. Yes, dear. Your sister did see you and Roger slip away that night in Cancun when we were vacationing together. She followed you to the beach and hid behind a tree while you slept with him in a chaise lounge. She heard you talking about how hot it was to see each other naked in the sand that day when we were all sunbathing naturally. You also talked about getting together on Thursday nights when you got back. So you signed up for dance class and he started bowling, and once a month you skipped your classes to play at the Starlight Motor Inn on Highway 12. The curtains on the windows were bad, so we have a lot of pictures. I scanned them on my laptop and can show them to you before bed if you want to take a walk down Passion Lane. I have pictures of your other adventures as well. She looked very pretty when she was shocked. Relax. I didn't need to get revenge on the others. They all met with tragedy beyond my control. I guess you are bad karma. There was Danny Dawson, the UPS guy. He got arrested for drugs, didn't he? The police busted him hot on his heels. He was carrying cocaine in a cargo hold and peddling to regular customers, even making home deliveries. He's probably still in jail. When you were jacking up your boss, his wife got a call telling her to keep an eye on him on Wednesdays during lunch. He was caught with his pants down and she took him to the cleaners. You're lucky. You were his girlfriend on Tuesdays and she never found out about you. It's okay. Your secret is safe from me. Remember the day the exterminator died in his van? It was the day he was working on our house and you were having fun with him as a tip. Somehow a leak developed in a couple of his chemical tanks, and when they connected, his car filled with noxious fumes. Oh well, at least it was painless. Then there was Charlie Jr.'s first grade teacher, Jack Riles. He was found burning in bed when the fire department got to his house. Remember? He supposedly fell asleep smoking and almost burned to death. You knew about all of them? And you didn't stop me? Why? To get a divorce? So I could live alone in a shitty little apartment while you enjoyed the comforts of my home and paycheck? So I can see my kids on weekends or twice a month? So that I can work my ass off to support 2 families, have no time to date, and never have sex again? No way! Marie, you were a sexual dream. You took good care of me and the kids, you were an amazing housekeeper, and you made as much money as most people make working overtime. You were and still are a jewel, and I will never let you go. But I betrayed you! I cheated! What's more, you were a serial traitor, an insatiable nymphomaniac whore. But because you did all that, you changed the rules for me, too. I slept with so many women it was amazing. Fat, skinny, curvy, flat, blonde, brunette, redhead, buff, soft, tall, short, smart, dumb, broads, girls, chicks, boys, nerds, jocks, celebrities, rough, smooth, hot, cool. I've had them all. It's been an amazing love life, so don't think you have to confess to everything. I haven't confessed to anything. You know everything yourself, and I guess I don't know anything. We sat for a while longer, sipping a lovely red, watching the sun finish its work and sink into darkness. The frogs and other night singers joined the crickets, and I felt incredibly peaceful. After a while, she got up and went to bed. I fell asleep in the chair, smirking slightly at what she knew. Marie found him the next morning, still on the porch, rocking. He was still clutching the stem of a half-full glass in his hand. There was a sense of calmness about him. His smile was sweet. She had cried a little the night before, hearing his revelations. But when she woke up in the morning, she was at peace with it. Years ago, she had been looking for something more than Charlie could give her. He was the best lover she'd ever known, but she needed more than one man could give. There were always other men. She was glad Charlie had other people's children. It seemed fair that way. She suspected that those times in their lives when he mysteriously lost the financial account and they had to tighten their belts for a while were probably times when he gave a little more to her sister or Ginny Donaldson to provide for his other children, and he always took care of their youngest as if she were his own. It dawned on Marie that the accidents her lovers had encountered were probably not accidents, but were caused by Charlie taking revenge. There was something right about that, too. Charlie was a man, and stealing his woman wasn't something that was out of the ordinary for him. It was amazing that he was able to separate his and her affairs and let the house be home. What happened away from home never came back, until last night. He loved her. All his life he had loved her. This beautiful, wonderful man loved her enough to accept her flaws and find a way to be strong while doing it. He played by the rules she rewrote. So much like him. All the guilt she'd felt all these years over her inability to control her uncontrollable lust left her as she squeezed his cold, hard hand one last time. She looked down at the wine glass she had taken from his hand. She sniffed it and realized. He didn't smell like he used to. He had left this world on his own terms. Charlie had never planned on going to San Diego. He wanted to stay here at the lake forever. She called her oldest and asked him to come to the lake immediately. She told him that her father had died. She did the same with her oldest niece and Ellen Donaldson, Charlie and Ginny's older sister. Then she sat down in the rocking chair next to Charlie and kissed him goodbye. "Thank you, my love," she whispered, to his everlasting smile, and drank the last glass of wine. The bitter flavor quickly faded away, and she noted, as Charlie had taught her, all the complexities of the wine. Sweetness, notes of plum and currant, a late flavor of cherry on her tongue. Perfect. The lake in front of her warmed in the sun. Perfect. She closed her eyes, and everything around her fell silent.